Hello everybody, Dokkan Assets here. Today we are back with another Dokkan Battle community response video. I know it has been a little bit of a fat minute since I have made an upload. As many of you know, I was busy over the 4th of July weekend at a anime con. I was at Anime Midwest. It was an absolute blast with my boy James PlachiTube as well. Right after I got home, I had to do some car shopping because unfortunately before the con, my car died and I need it for work. So your boy has been busy the past couple of days, but everything seems to be working out now. I do have a bunch of videos planned in the back of my mind that I am going to be punching out this week. Hopefully you'll get one video a day for the rest of this week, so look forward to that. I also have a special 6th anniversary video planned for tomorrow. But anyway, before we get too off track here, I wanted to do a quick community response video because I've been wanting to do one for a while, and I've been trying to think of topics to do. I did do that problems with Dokkan one, which I think I will save that for the future because that is going to be a big honker. But I did want to do a video talking about this before the topic got too irrelevant, and obviously the 6th anniversary sort of took things over in terms of what's going on with Dokkan right now. We have the final battle between TEQ Gogeta and STR Vegito. Now, we're going to structure this a little bit different than the usual community response videos. As I take a look at all of your guys' replies, I do have the boys pulled up on the wiki here so we can take a look at them and their stats, their abilities, all that good stuff, to kind of compare and see what your hot takes have to say, you know, against the facts, I suppose. I'll, of course, give you my opinion on all of this stuff, and maybe even at the end, I'll kind of give you what I think about everything. So let's go ahead and just see some of your replies. I know there are still replies coming in here because I just tweeted this, but as you can see, this tweet is already doing well. So that, you know, the meme of the guy sitting back in the chair, oh, this tweet is doing numbers. Anyhow, we'll just refresh the page to take a look at new replies. So let's see what we have here. Starting off with the boy Raspy. Funny enough, speaking of hot takes, the king of hot takes himself, Mr. Raspy. TEQ Gogeta has a better leader skill than STR Vegito. Funny enough, already Luka Dokkan, his absolute hooligan, clowning on him. So, obviously, in terms of the leader skill with these guys, we have Time Limit or Connected Hope. And then, of course, for Vegito, we have Battle of Wits and Boo Saga. I would venture to say that I actually disagree with the homie Raspy here, only because Time Limit is kind of like a category that's sort of in between Final Trump Card and Fusions, right? Where it's sort of like that in-between area where it has some of those units that some don't, but it doesn't have all of the, you know, Potara fusions and whatnot. And then Connected Hope is basically just Pycon's category, which I will say, the category is very okay. As you can see, it's very limited. The only thing that I can give to Gogeta on this one for the Connected Hope side of things is that the timing is very good, because obviously not everybody has Pycon because a lot of people skipped his banner, and his category is needed for a couple of events, especially this one with Tapion, because that one is a permanent event. So now people who weren't able to do that before can do it with Gogeta. I will kind of give the dub to Vegito, funny enough, I think, on this one. Not only is Battle of Wits obviously a pretty... it's a decently beefy category, I suppose, and it's a pretty good category, I think. The fact that he also leads Majin Buu Saga, I think, automatically gives him the dub, and that might also be more so in terms of timing. But the thing is, we haven't had a proper Majin Buu Saga lead since Fizz Super Vegito, and I know a lot of people were really wanting a leader skill that led Majin Buu Saga, like, not ever since he came out, because obviously he sufficed for a while, but after a while, people were really looking for a better lead, and he came through with that. So I really think that him having Majin Buu Saga almost absolutely carries his leader skill there, because obviously this category is beefy and has a lot of the best units in the game on it. Very nice, but thank you for your take, Raspy. Nonetheless, I appreciate it. While I disagree, I can see where you're coming from for sure. They're built very similar, so they're the same. They're equal. My man, Minato. Who really cares who's better? They're both cool. Most people run them together. Amen. Yes. This is actually a point that I wanted to get across with this, because I know that obviously this argument has kind of been a little bit tapered out by this point, but again, I wanted to do a video on it, so thank you. Now, in terms of running them together, I will say, funny enough, when a lot of people were bringing this up initially, that was kind of my response. I was like, I mean, you know, even though the numbers may say something, I feel like the purpose of them is to run them together because they are meant to be a companion unit to each other, right? So I think in that regard, it's almost like, well, who cares who's better? You know, run them together and they're double better. Maybe that's not the right mentality to have, considering I just said we're going to put it against the facts. But you know what I mean. I think it's awesome that you can run them together and that they work so well together. I believe even at their untransformed state. Let me see this just to make sure before I say this and act like a hooligan. I think except for one link. Yeah, except for their first link on their untransformed state, which would be Saiyan Warrior Race and... oh, no, it is the same on that. Okay, sorry. It was just Super Vegito hadn't loaded in yet, I guess. Yeah, their links are the same, which is awesome. Because obviously, then that means if you run them together, obviously they will link super well. And even when they transform, they do still share some links, but obviously because they're, you know, not the same. You know, it's a Gogeta unit and a Vegito unit, they change a little bit. But I really like that the untransformed state has the same link. So yes, very, very pog that you can run them together for sure. STR Vegito has a better theme by a mile. Ooh, this is another one. I'm not going to play both themes because that could honestly be a whole nother video in and of itself. But I do like both of their themes a lot. I almost like to compare them to, like, the best way that I can look at it, because I like both themes a lot, and funny enough, I do think that I like Vegito's theme a little bit more. It also might be because I've heard it for longer and I'm a little bit more like nostalgic to it, which is weird to say considering it didn't come out that long ago. But I think that like they're both great for different reasons, because Vegito's theme kind of sounds like a start of the battle and like you're going in hard to, you know, demolish the opponent, right? You're throwing everything that you got at it, which makes sense because it's like, you know, Vegito is fusing to finally give Boo a challenge, right? And finally knock this man down a peg, you know, and start beating him down, right? That's when they fuse into Vegito. And then with Gogeta, it almost fits his character as well, because Gogeta's theme kind of feels like the finishing move theme, right? Like you're about to end the battle. It's about to be the climactic finish, which is, ironically enough, exactly what happens in Fusion Reborn. When Gogeta comes through, he gives Janemba a couple punches, a couple kicks, he hits him with the Soul Punisher, and then, bada bing, bada boom, he defeats him, right? So I think both of the themes, the sort of I don't want to say vibe, because I know that sounds like so lame from an analytical music kind of point of view. You know, I'm not really an analytical music type of guy, but that is the feeling that I get when listening to both of those songs, and I love that that perfectly exemplifies both of the characters and what the cards are trying to represent. I think that's so cool. Moving on, Sin says they're pretty much the same, one will be better than the other depending on the situation. Yes, that is also very true. TEQ Gogeta Vegito gets hit by 140k normals type neutral. Okay, so yes, while that is true, in certain situations, and Vegito definitely has a little bit less defense, I do know for a fact that Gogeta does lose a little bit of defense. I believe if we look at the passive here, let's see, performing critical hit, key spheres, reduces damage received by 30%, and foresees enemy super attacks for 5 turns from the start of turn, right? So, obviously, that is really good. And for a lot of Dokkan events, you'll still be kind of, you know, and I don't mean like Dokkan events, like actual Dokkan events, the technical term, I just mean events in the game. It'll be fine, but after those 5 turns on events like, you know, the legendary Goku event, GT or regular, you know, maybe even the God of Destruction event, depending on how long you're playing it for, you might not end up having all that defense, and I will say his defense isn't awful. After that happens, thankfully I've gotten to play with him a little bit, so, you know, I'm a little bit familiar with the unit. While it's not bad, I still think that, like, even though his defense is good for those longer events, it might not be the best. But he still hits really hard, and obviously in terms of defense, even though it is specific to a melee super attack, he does have that thing where he can block a super attack flat out, which is really, really cool. I do hope they do more of that, by the way. I know this is a little bit of side tangent, but I do hope that they do more mechanics like that, because I think that's such a cool thing to have it be specific to certain attacks, or attack types rather. I think that that can add a lot of versatility to the game for sure. So hope they do more of that in the future. Anyhow, TEQ Gogeta is more of a unit that supports the other units on the rotation. STR Vegito is more of a unit that's meant to be a one-man army. Huh. Interesting. I don't know if I would say supports necessarily, because obviously he's not doing anything to like support the teammates, but I do almost kind of agree in a weird sort of way. I mean, I guess he does change key spheres to rainbow, which of course, if you have any other units on the team that need rainbow key spheres, I mean, he does also need rainbow key spheres, but you know, if you're running any units on your squad that need rainbow key, then of course he's definitely good for that. And of course, rainbow key is just helpful because then if you have some miscellaneous orbs that you're trying to connect, then those rainbow key orbs might be your best bet and end up connecting what you're trying to get connected, right? So I can definitely agree that to a certain extent for sure. Yeah, but I definitely think the Vegito is meant to be more of the one-man army, so to speak. Goresh coming in with the hottest take. TEQ Vegito, yo, sha! Thank you, Goresh. I appreciate it, bro. I 100% agree, bro. OG TEQ Vegito. Ooh. Actually, to be fair, though, when he gets an EZA, he'll probably be pretty fire, I'm not gonna lie. He was a pretty good support unit back in the day. Gogeta, he's Gogeta. I respect that. People can enjoy both of them and use whatever units they want. Amen, my man. King says Vegito takes it. His active skill will save you. When Gogeta is used, you're already doing great. You lose damage reduction, but gain counters IDK if it would really save you. Well, HP regen and anything below 77%. If you're desperate, you can kill the power of Vegito. I actually didn't even really think about that. That is very true, I will say. Vegito definitely has that advantage, as much as I do love Gogeta's active skill, because obviously it's fire, and they did such a good job with it. I highly agree that, yeah, I think that Vegito's, like, I'm not talking about what the units do after the active skill, right? Like, I'm kind of talking about, you know, their versatility. Obviously, the fact that he heals upon the active skill, I think is a really, really powerful tool, you know, for you to use in battle, especially with Vegito, right? The nice thing about him is that when you're doing longer events, right? Obviously, you can kind of use the untransformed one for a while for some super beefy defense, and then if you're really in a dire point, right, you can heal up, and then thankfully with that extra HP that you have, you can dish out some counters. So yeah, I can definitely agree with that point for sure. Screw their kids, let's argue whose animations look prettier. So funny enough, I actually talked about this with somebody else the other day. I will say, at least in my opinion, in terms of the animations, any day of the week, Gogeta takes the dub 100%. I don't even think it's a question. Not only the untransformed animations, but the transformed animations as well. Like, literally, I don't think that there's any debate, at least for me, on that point. You know, not only do I feel like that the Vegito animations, they do have the boost style saga a little bit, but I feel like they are more like Dokkan style, if that makes sense, which isn't a bad thing, but I feel like they're like more in-game animation-esque, whereas Gogeta's are not only super stylized to look like the exact look from Fusion Reborn from the movie, but they still feel like Dokkan essays while being a proper representation of the super attacks from the movie, right? Very stylized, and as well, I think the movements are definitely a lot more clean on the Gogeta animations, a lot more fluid how everything works and all of the movements look in motion. Easily, I think that Gogeta, from a technical standpoint, has the better animations. I'm not even talking like the attacks that they do. Personally, I do prefer the attacks that Gogeta does because I think they just look cooler. But I think from a technical standpoint, 100% Gogeta takes the cake on that one. It's so good. They're so beautiful, bro. Like, oh my gosh. It was exactly what I was hoping for from a Fusion Reborn Gogeta unit in terms of the super attacks. Like, I wasn't like it is kind of telling, though, I will say, that I wasn't blown away by them, because it was what I expected, which means it's the high quality standard for super attacks that Dokkan has already set for itself, which is amazing that they can pump out, you know, stuff that good on the older engine. Now just to fix the sprites. Anyhow, TEQ says Gogeta has way more to offer than Vegito. Gogeta has super attack nullification, unconditional super effective against all types, rainbow orb changing, and damage reduction. The only thing Vegito has over Gogeta is raw damage and a better lead and a longer scouter effect. Longer scouter effect? I don't actually know what that means. If someone in the comments wants to tell me, I feel like I'm dumb for not knowing that, but genuinely I'm not sure what he means. I mean, I can definitely see your point on that side of things. Obviously, the super attack nullification is cool, but again, keep in mind, it is only on melee-based supers, which isn't every boss in the game. And definitely, when you're bringing them into an event, you gotta know which super attacks are going to be melee-based. I think that the wiki should have that on the boss events, but obviously, you could just check the unit to see. Obviously, the unconditional against all types is just kind of a dub that all Gogeta units have. And of course, that's not anything against our boy Gogeta, because of course, that's always a good thing. And that'll mean that even though he may take a little bit more damage when his damage reduction is over, at least he'll still be hitting for bare minimum type neutral, right? So that's pretty cool. Obviously, yes, the rainbow orb changing is very helpful. So I can see your standpoint on that for sure, right? But I do think that Vegito does still have some things that also make him great. Of course, obviously, the raw damage and counter attacks is good. They both have the thing where they can get extra ki depending on the type of ki that they get. But, I mean, I think that, funny enough, literally from the standpoint of, look how long Gogeta's passive skill is compared to Vegito's. I can definitely see that, yeah. Alright, Corno, there is no versus. They're best friends and made to be with each other. Yes, amen, bro. And make up for each other's weaknesses, but no dupes. Gogeta is more reliable, crits effective, better base stats. With Vegito, dupes contain so much more value. Yeah, I definitely think that I can agree with that. I think literally from the standpoint of the fact that Gogeta, you know, doesn't need crits to hit against everything, right? For super effective damage. I'm sorry, I said type neutral before. I think that that makes him more versatile at base dupes specifically, right? Because obviously, the more dupes that Vegito has, the more defense that he's going to be able to have when you're doing counters. And of course, the more damage you're going to be able to do with those counter attacks. Well, since Gogeta, of course, will get more damage, you know, his damage reduction won't really change. And he will hit harder, but he doesn't need it as much as Vegito. So yes, I think that is definitely a great point. Not really, says Vegeta hits way harder, but Gogeta's defensive capabilities put him over Vegeta for me. Interesting, okay. Oh, I hope I say your name right. Siha, I think is it. Vegito has nice offense. However, if he doesn't take down the enemy, he dies because of defense, so I like Gogeta more than him, interestingly enough. I don't have anything more to say. My man pulled out the clip. Oh, okay, so, I see. He's given us a little bit of a reference here. I assumed Ronaldo would be on the Gogeta side. I don't think that anybody was questioning that. Oh, okay. That was definitely modded, but that's pretty funny. All right. I think we'll do 2 more tweets, and then we'll call it there. Hot take, 3 equally is useful, and they have their own strengths, weaknesses, allowed to hold immense value. Yes, definitely. Wow. All right. Well, I think that it's literally, we've kind of gotten our point across, actually, because this guy literally said they're the same with different flaws. I like Vegito better when it comes down to preference, but collectively the 3rd best units in the game, I'd probably put them above Broly. Interesting. Yeah, so I think most people agree. Some people obviously have their preference over the unit, but it is nice to see that a lot of people actually agree with what I was saying in the way that they should be ran together, and that's kind of how they're meant to be best friends, which is awesome to see. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I know I couldn't get all of your replies, but I was trying to be a little bit more analytical about things today, so of course that kind of took up a little bit more of the time with my talking. I don't know if I'll do it this way in the future. Let me know if you like this format, definitely in the comments section below. It'll kind of depend on the topic too, because not all of the topics kind of allow me to do this sort of thing. But regardless, let me know your thoughts about this question in the comments section below. Of course, if you would like to participate in videos like this in the future, please go follow me on Twitter. I'm sure that all of you watching this video are anyway, but you know, gotta plug it anyhow. Regardless, though, hope you all have a great day. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Dokkan Assets out. Peace.